tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little...
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to another edition FFP Sports. We talk sports, and today we're going to talk rugby. Now, just before we jump into that, this episode is brought to you by Buzzer, an online platform that's dedicated to sports to help sports athletes achieve their dreams and their careers for the future generation. So if you haven't already, go onto the App Store, go into Google Play, download Buzzer, all right, and then get involved. It's like the Instagram, TikTok, but for sports specifically. So that's the first one to get it out of the way. Today, we're going to talk about Six Nations. That's right. What a weekend. And we talked about this before, but there were three big games that did not go the way that I thought they were going to go at all. But of course, I'm not alone in this. We've got Broughy's Rugby Offload, or Bro Pod, with the man himself, Mr. Brough. Bro, hello.
What's up, guys? How are we all?
We're ready to roll, mate.
Good to be here, Grant. Good to be talking to you. What are Six Nations, eh?
Mate, straight off the bat, my first thoughts when I was watching, like, first of all, I wanted Scotland. Let me just get it straight out there. I wanted Scotland to be the champs. I mean, how long has it been since they won?
I don't know, a million years.
A million years, like literally, right? And so I was like, Scotland. But then Ireland come through, and you can't be mad at Ireland because it's Ireland and there's a soft spot.
Absolutely, and in all fairness to Ireland, apart from the first week, they've won every other game. They got hit hard by France in the start. They've won every other game. They did what they had to try and compete for it.
Yeah, it was But okay, I want to jump over this all over the place. Let's start with, first of all, let's give kudos to France, because there's a couple of things that I've seen, and one thing was there's questions being thrown around amongst rugby podcasts, and one of them was, they were lucky, the comeback, the penalty at the end, they were fortunate. What's your immediate thoughts?
Well, I heard the reports as well, and some people say they were fortunate, they were lucky. In rugby, you make a lot of your own luck, and maybe you get the rub of the green sometimes. You don't other times. However, I believe I'm going to steal your little bit of thunder here. I saw some stats.
Oh, you are stealing.
And they were first in absolutely every measure, whether it was attack, defense, everything. Like, they were the best team overall. So whether they got the rub of a green or by a ref or not a couple of times, doesn't matter. They were still the best team in every facet of the game across the tournament.
Which is exactly what I was going to say and talk about, because it is literally those stats. But then you look at the games, and I had this whole thing, the first, 3 games until it got to Scotland, you just think France is going to pulverize everyone. And then they had these last 2 matches, had these massive scorelines. We're not talking a 20, 30-point massive. We're talking 40s. Like, I don't remember seeing matches like that alone. I can't remember. When was the last time you saw 240 matches, 40-point matches that close?
Yeah, in one weekend. And it used to be a lot of the Northern Hemisphere people give a little bit of stick to us Southerners for like Super Rugby and the score lines and that. But the Rugby Championship didn't have these kind of huge scores in every game. So defenses were optional, it seemed at times, or just the attack is getting so good that it's just breaking apart defenses.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because I don't want to go too far into this, but maybe because such high score lines against a team like France, for me, top three, like not by a little bit, but by a long way, right? We had this thing with England. England was supposed to be they had 12 in a row. Come Six Nation times, just completely flopped. Expected France to pump England in this last match. Didn't go that way at all. If anyone that did see it, spoiler, we're going to talk about it, so you shouldn't be watching. But, So anyway, from that French perspective, they leaked that many against Scotland to start with, and then they did it again against England. So is it that defences are getting worse or attack is getting better?
I think it's probably a combination of both, but I think the French, the way they play, their style of game is they just back themselves to score more points than you.
Mm.
So their general theory is our attack is so good, we're going to score more points on it, and they're probably a more attacking focused team. Whereas England is probably normally the other way around. You watch their game style and stuff, it's a lot of up and under kicks. It's not really attack. Like they're attacking contests, but they're not playing really good attacking rugby, are they?
Well, I think it's been disguised. When you say like attacking, I think there's been really like, okay, I've seen this. This is a little bit off topic, but from Super Rugby and Six Nations to seeing there's a lot more attacking prowess or mindset. Like they're not willing to. Like I'm used to the Northern team trying to drive straight through the middle, get their big packs and just keep rumbling through the middle, and the backs kind of just wander around there for like 80 minutes. Whereas now we're seeing the backs far more involved and their expansive play in the back line. They're running different angles, running different lines. They're mixing things up.
And I guess you got to look at the forwards out in the back lines causing that mayhem as well. Like, guys, what was that? There was one of the Scottish tries where it literally went through like really three just short, sharp hands, and it was second row, flanker. And the flanker broke through, and like the skills and stuff is definitely, it's definitely a way different game to it was 20 years ago, with everybody having to be able to be a rugby player. Nobody can sit back and play. Well, I was a good line out jumper. That's why I'm in the team. I'm a good prop. I can scrum, and you're not in the team just if that's your only skill now.
Yeah, you have to be a hybrid player. Okay, so let's put a bit of structure to this because, France won, kudos there. We get to that. Let's look at the games through the weekend because let's start with that first one, Ireland, Scotland. Scotland had the opportunity, like literally, I'm pretty sure it's 30 years. Big actually thing. For you following on YouTube, whether you're watching us live or in the replay, put your comments, share your thoughts, share your opinions. Love to hear them. Want to answer it if we can. If you're watching on Instagram, same thing. Share your comments, share your thoughts. We want to hear from you. Scotland, Ireland. Scotland had a massive opportunity. Was it the pressure they got to them, in your opinion?
Yes, because in the games they've been expected to win, or the pressure's really been on them. There was no pressure on them in the France game. Everyone expected France to win. They came out with a belter, but the Italy game, the pressure was on them. They bottled it. The Ireland game, when that pressure kicked up, and I wouldn't even say they bottled it. Maybe Ireland just played better, but it comes to a point where every time there's huge pressure, if you cannot get the job done, the questions start to be asked.
It reminds me of the game when they played New Zealand. Prime opportunity, New Zealand not playing well. They're playing at home, Murrayfield, and again, Scotland unable to. Is it psychological, in your opinion? Where is it?
I think
they have the players, in my opinion.
It has. Yeah, and absolutely, you've got the players, but the 1% in those games is everything. When the competition's so close and so good, that one tackle you fall off suddenly causes a huge line break and a try. And sometimes those things don't impact, and sometimes they have huge impacts. And I think that's it. But when you're missing a couple of 1% things, where maybe you normally miss like 5 tackles in a game, you've missed 10 or something like that. Like just those little 1% things make such a difference at that level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then we talk about this all the time, right? With all these types of things, all these things go on. it happens with every single match, every single game, and it doesn't seem to be an answer for teams to be able to overcome it. Because now the teams have psychologists to be able to work on the mental mindset of the match, pre-match build-up, trying to make it nonchalant. Look, it's another game. It is important, but we've got to go out there and do our job. You hear this time and time again.
Which, I don't know, I disagree with. I don't think you should be going into big games going, it's another game. You should be going into your normal games like that. But if it's your make or break game, you should be going in and guys should be looking, how can I give myself that little bit of extra edge? Because that's what champions do. Champions don't treat it as another game.
Yep.
I mean, they do want to win every game, but there's got to be something said. If you just treat it as another game, then are you invested in the win or loss? Because as a professional, you're going to win and lose around half your games. Can you just treat it like another game? Or is there something where real champions step up when it matters most?
Well, there's a psychological side of it here that I always like to look into, and it's like, from a New Zealand perspective, you look at Sam Whitelock, whether they're winning or whether they're losing, his reactions, his demeanor, his characteristics are still the same. Like he treats a win same as the way he treats a loss. Yeah, there's obviously the analytical side that says we could do better here, we could do better there, but you know, there's the little mistakes that keep coming up. Well, I felt the little mistakes, drop balls, forward passes, just not connecting with another player.
Yeah, and there was definitely parts of that, and I think the other aspect of that could have been Ireland's defense and the pressure they were putting on. You watched guys over the ball and stuff like that. They were just clinical, but I guess that is a 1%. If you're suddenly missing that run, even late, they just like half missed him, and they're that good at their jobs that they're getting the turnovers, creating the problems and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a combo, but yeah, I don't know about the psychology. I think you need to. There are some games. Now, again, I was never a professional athlete, but there was definitely some games where I knew I had to, like, I had more going for me. I was going to play better, or like I felt better about my performance. I needed to have a good performance in certain games.
Mm-hmm. So then, in your opinion, is it the case that Ireland just played better?
Yeah, I think Ireland just played better, and I do think Scotland just a little bit shaky at times, and they just couldn't withhold it.
Yeah. Okay. So simple enough. Good work on Ireland. Ireland made the way back up to second. They finished second in the Six Nations for 2026. Is that a good result for Ireland?
Well, they got the Triple Crown. I think it's a good result if you take out the first week. They went undefeated from the first week. They've had a successful tournament. What do you say? 7.5, 8 out of 10 overall. You lost one game where you got torn apart. You came back from it and you did everything you could to put yourself in an opportunity to win the tournament still.
Yeah, true. It's crazy because it just felt like in those first couple of weeks or after week 3, 4 that there wasn't a chance for them because the whole thing was France is going to run away with this.
Yeah, and obviously Scotland beating France through a spanner and a fair few works, which nobody predicted. And I think over the Six Nations, getting predictions right and wrong was probably the hardest one there was. But when you watched them play against Italy as well, they got away with murder against Italy. Like Italy had a try disallowed that would have tied the game at the time and stuff like that. And that was a shaky call, but they ended up getting the job done. They were shaky against Wales, but they got the job done. So they weren't foolproof. Like when you watch France, other than Scotland, they never looked like losing a game, other than the final one as well.
I'll just have a look here at the matches. You know, they don't really tell or they do like. So a lot of times we've seen a lot of scores now these days don't match the performances on the field. That's what I think, in my opinion, we're feeling
absolutely. And I also think if we had look at big tipping comps and things like that, I think the winning tippers would be like in general. I think all numbers would have been much lower this year than in previous Six Nation years.
Okay, brilliant. Let's move on to the next game because this was, I thought, the telltale. Actually, one more thing about that Scotland Ireland. The first game, I'll show this here on week 1, that 3-point loss to Italy. How painful that must feel for them now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And well, I mean, you've got to win. You can't lose 2 games to win the Six Nations, but it's starting to question them. They've had the same crop of players for the last couple of years. They're a very good team. They've got the good scrummages. They've got the cattle at the moment. But if you're not getting through results, so what, they came 3rd this time. It's another meh finish, isn't it? They normally come 4th, 3rd or 4th. Is that really a what
step forward progression? Are they better?
Is it there? Out of 10, what would you give them?
Well, I would have said 8 or 9 before the performance against Ireland. I feel like they've taken a step back because it's like, and I'm always going to compare this to All Blacks. Progression's one thing. Like, you want to make sure you're moving forward, but it's in those progression moments. Like, so when, example being, South Africa bashed New Zealand in the second half in Wellington. Well, that's the moment that matters. New Zealand loses to England on the Northern Tour to go for a Grand Slam, loses. It's like, well, those are the games that matter. And here, same thing for Scotland. The game that mattered against Ireland. So I give them about a 7, to be honest. Improvement?
Yeah, I'd probably knock them down to a 6 because of their Italy loss as well. I just think that loss against Italy hurt them to start with. I think it did give them the confidence to go against England and France later on, but I think just starting off that early with a loss in the game where you're expected to win, and I think you said All Blacks and Springboks, they don't lose many games. The best teams don't lose many games that you're tipped to win, your favourites for, and I don't know. Say you can't. Then what chance are you giving yourself later on in tournaments? And it's probably the same with all of the teams in it. What does it show? We've got a Rugby World Cup in a year and a half. All of them are very capable of losing games.
Yeah, which is what going to bring me to my next point about Italy, because it's the next game as well. So Italy, it seems obvious that they're improving, but are they?
Look, before the game, I would have given them, as an Italy team, they would have got a 9 out of 10 before the Wales game.
Okay.
They beat Scotland. They beat England for the first time. They were very, very close to beating Ireland or drawing with Ireland. So they got a bonus point out of that. They have come a long way. So as I'm not marking them against each other, like it's not Italy versus France in my marking, but for Italy, their performance would have been, showed significant improvement, but I think I would have given them a 9 out of 10. But then dropping the one game where they were favourites,
this blows my mind.
Yeah, like the one game where they were expected to win, and yes, Wales were getting better throughout the tournament. They just couldn't get the job done, so it probably knocks it down to a 7 out of 10 because at the end of the day, they're still in the bottom half, aren't they? And they came 4th, which is one of their best results ever.
Well, this is the
but
thing.
It's still
so
4 out of 6.
I would see. I don't want to belittle Italy's efforts because at the end of the day, like, they deserve those wins, and they should have beat a couple other teams. Like,
yeah.
So I don't want to say I don't want to give them 8 or 9 and be like, oh, because it's Italy. I still want to compare them against the top teams, right? The top nations. And for me, Italy, again, it's those pressure moments that they're just not able to hold the pill, make the right decisions. There's some actually bad decisions as a team for me, like either taking those points. And I'm flipped on this as well because they had opportunities to take points, didn't, and did what other teams would do to go for the corner, and they weren't successful. So, I've got to give kudos there, but I don't want to see Italy at the bottom of the Six Nations, which now they're not, because now if you look at those standings, They
came
finished fourth.
with,
Yeah, which is good for them. But again, if you're thinking as an Italian, I'm thinking, hey, fourths shouldn't be rewarded.
Yeah, fourth shouldn't be rewarded yet. And they are looking to improve. I mean, the caliber and stuff you've got to look at. It depends on what perspective. As a player, you wouldn't be happy with it. As an overall person who's involved in rugby Italy, are you going, all right, well, we've gone up from fifth to fourth. We've got our first win against England ever. If you asked me before the tournament, would I have taken that? Yes. As a player, as a coach, you want to win every game you play. But I think if you look at it in baseball type terms, you're not expected to win every game. You just need expected to be at a certain point. So would Italy have taken coming fourth above England at the start of the Six Nations? And I think yes.
Then, okay, we'll get on to the Italy and Wales game. See, that's where the mindset's all wrong then. I don't think you show up to go, I think, okay, first, you're there to win it. You know what I mean? And if you can't have your team...
I'm just saying as an overall management perspective, you've got to look at sometimes you're not going to win it. And maybe that's a pill that needs swallowing at times.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to, all right, Italy... let's say, okay, we're not going to win the Six Nations this year. Yes, every game you're competing to win it. But where is the pass or fail mark for us at the end? If we go, all right, this is our Six Nations. What is a pass mark for Italy when you're looking at it and you're forward planning and stuff like that? If you were England, you're getting a 2-3 out of 10. You had a great game against France, which you just lost, and but the rest of the games, you were okay, you were decent against Wales, but every other game, you were pretty crap. They get a low mark, and when heading into it, I had them as equal favourites with France, so they get a fail, but Italy for me get a pass because they did better than expected.
Okay, then. So on this match, on the Italy-Wales match, first of all, just thoughts on it.
Based on...
Actually, before we get into that, just a quick one. Again, powered by Buzzer. Check this one out. Make sure you download the Buzzer app. This episode is brought to you by Buzzer. So let's talk about Italy-Wales. Wales... from I don't know where, finally after 27, 28 matches, beat a Tier 1 team.
Yeah, look, they have been putting in, other than, they really struggled against England in the very first match, where all
sorry.
Yeah, it was pretty poor. But from then on, they started showing good improvements in games. They got close with Scotland at times. They got really close with Ireland. They weren't close to France, but they showed some really good signs against France with some of the things they were doing. So I think there was that, and they were getting better across the tournament, which is what you need to see. Wales would probably be that other one. At the start of the Six Nations, yes, they don't want last is always a fail because you don't ever want to be coming last. But getting a win when you've been on such a losing streak it almost hits a pass mark. Maybe it's working towards.
I don't want to say it, but yeah. Okay. I'm with you. So here we go again. So we're talking about we're giving the lower teams the get off the hook or get off. I don't know what you call that one actually.
I don't see it as a get off the hook. I say maybe it's the teacher. I think it's expected progress from where they are to where they could be. I don't, Wales the management of Wales couldn't have come into Six Nations honestly thinking they were going to win it.
Yep.
So they have to look at, okay, here's where we're starting. Here's where we finish. Where's our pass mark to show that improvement? So it's not that I'm saying the winning or losing is less important. I'm saying if you need to improve, because you have to improve to start getting those results. So that's where the pass. Yes, it's the lower teams get a different expectation, but as they should. That's what odds and things like that are for, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
what are the expectations of a team going in? So you look at the Rugby World Cup, there are 5 or 6 teams that would have the expectations that anything but a win is a fail.
Success, yeah. Okay, sorry, yes.
Yeah. For other teams, it would be, hey, if we can come out of there with a win, we've passed. So we've had a great tournament.
Which is understandable from a point of view where I just think for Italy, if they keep coming like this, so like Italy and Scotland, the difference between them and the other nations is that when it comes to these pressure games, they're not performing in those pressure games. Wales, I mean, they've been belted around and playing horribly for the last few years.
4 years? Yeah.
And this particular match, when Italy's on form, technically they're on form. Okay, Wales had a good one against Scotland, taken to the edge in that one. But then you just expect Italy, like I said, we expected them to win. And it wasn't that like Wales staged a comeback or anything. They dominated the game. They deserved to win the match. It wasn't even like, and nearly, I hate to say this, for me, Italy wasn't actually even in the contest. I never felt like there's a time that never felt like a time that Italy was ever going to win that one. Again, bad decisions, simple mistakes, basic errors.
I think that comes with a bit of practice as well in being in those situations. So, and I'm going to put Scotland and Italy in different brackets here because Italy are new to being in situations where they're favourites in those games. Scotland are not new to it. The last couple of years, they've been favourites in games. There's been an expectation on them. This is the first time Italy's really had an expectation on them where you guys should be winning this, and you could pop yourselves up into third spot.
Yeah, fair cool.
This is the first time that's happened. So that all comes from learning. I mean, the best teams have had to come from somewhere to get to the top, and those experiences are what makes you a better player. And this is the first time for me. I think Italy's like, all right, you're favourites. Definitely, you should. The expectations are up here this time, and they haven't met them. But next time we will be much more critical if they don't meet them.
Yeah, which is good for growth, right? That's development. That is their game going better.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and that's probably why we're more critical of Scotland at the moment, because they've been in this situation a few times over the last couple of years.
Yep. Fair enough.
So
like
are they really getting better?
Yeah. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Yeah. Right. Okay. So
how many times are you going to lose the little ones?
Yeah, true.
Nothing. It doesn't mean anything for Wales. It means they've broken their losing streak, so that's good. And a few guys have experienced what it's like to win. So even winning is a pattern that you can do. If you don't know, if you're used to losing all the time, you don't know how to win. So I think it does that, and it keeps the Welsh fans a little bit happy. And but Welsh rugby's in big trouble. So. In general, I think
bigger issues than worried about the international team.
Yeah, they've got bigger issues than their. Yeah, absolutely. So I think they've got. Yeah, they've it's great for the players. It's a great moment. They can end their tournament on a win, and they don't have to lose for a little while.
Cool. Okay, before we get into the last match, we talk about England. We talk about France. Just how does this for these 4 teams? Ireland, Scotland, France. Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and Italy. How does this look for them moving to the World Cup next year?
I need to look at their groups a little bit better. And it's not even their groups, it's the quarterfinals, semi-finals. But for me, all of them, now Ireland, they've never made it to a semi. I don't know if Scotland have either. So I don't know what your goals can be if you've never been somewhere. Like they choke at certain points. Will that happen again? Maybe it's a success if they get to a quarterfinal, but for me, I can't see them winning it, because even if they did get to the semi-final, I think they would lose just off the passion of winning a quarterfinal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, totally. It happens to all the teams, right? This euphoric explosion of just, we're there, kind of switch off mentally, or don't bring that second week round.
I think, I don't know if it's the last World Cup or the World Cup before, where England
they got roasted,
beat the All Blacks in that semi, and England beat the All Blacks in that semi-final, and basically didn't show up in the final, because that was their final. They were like, everything has to go into this game. And I used to call it the All Blacks hangover. Yeah. It's probably the South Africa hangover now. If you beat South Africa, because you put so much into that game, the next game you're going to get, you lose. And it happened to both Australia and New Zealand in the Rugby Championship. And it happens with some of these teams. If you put everything into a game, this is our focus game. The next game, you're just that 1% off, and the job doesn't get done. So I think maybe they'll get to a semi-final, but I just can't see them making a final, because I think they'll have a little hangover after making a semi.
Fair enough. Okay, before we move on, and as always, buzz up, Built for Sports. Download the app today from Google Play or Apple Play stores. Google Play? Apple stores. Whichever one it is. Let's talk about this last game then, because that's the one that was, it's in State of France. It's in France. The hosting, you expect nothing more but French domination. French had to stage a comeback on this one. But
yeah, look, to be honest, the game was well past my bedtime. I watched a few highlights, and guys stepping up when they needed to was class, but it definitely seemed like defense was optional. But before that, I just wanted to, do you think France put on the best show for a rugby game? Like, when all the lights, all the stuff leading into it, all this, like, it just, that I think rugby needs a lot more of that. Just in general, I like that they make it an event. Yep. We're not just hoity-toity lads going, oh, let's go watch the rugby. Hey, they like make it a party. They make it an environment, inviting scene where people want to come down. They want to celebrate. You could be a little bit less into rugby, but still enjoy going. And I think that's what rugby needs. You need to be getting, I know baseball and NBA and stuff in America, like it's an event when you go to a game. You don't even have to really like the sport, but you'll have fun.
Yeah. I'm with you. But like, I don't see this as, like, France for me, hands down, has the best pre-game entertainment. They build the atmosphere like no one else. Yep. But for me, it's not the international. It's what they built with the top 14. It's what they're building with each of those clubs. Like, they get such buy-in. I mean, like, it's the richest, like, it's like the EPL for soccer in England. France is doing that with top 14. They got all these players. It's electric. It's entertaining rugby. But on top of that, they've got the entertainment building up into the matches, so people get behind their teams. They're as passionate as the footballers in England. They're as passionate about their rugby team as well. And that's just been fed through into France. So when it comes to the internationals, in my opinion, it's expectation. Like, you've got a crowd that's dying. It's the Brazilians in South America. You don't go to a Brazilian game and not expect to be entertained, hyped up, pumped before the match begins, like nearly to the point you want blood. You want the Brazilians, if you're Brazilian, to smash whoever it is, not win by 1, win by 10 or 20 points, right? And I think France has built this, especially over the last decade, they've built this space and this environment, this character amongst their team. And like, I saw this when France sent a third, a C or a B team to New Zealand. Still, so many players with so much talent to be able to challenge the top or A All Black team. You know, it's like New Zealand still put them away, but France has got such depth, such electric players, especially in key positions as well, like around those 9 and 10, those playmakers. You've still got guys that can just do unbelievable things, that make great decisions, and then you top that up with not only the national team, but all these club teams that have these big burly dudes that just, as fours, just not only carry hard or tackle big, like you were saying before, they can move. They could stride down the field with their prop or a lock at the back with Lucy. It doesn't matter. They've all got these skills. And France, for me, you see this in the under-20s, and it's coming through into the A, B, and C French team. It's coming through to the top 14. And so, going back to the atmosphere you have at Stade de France or in French internationals, it comes from that. Like, their pathway is just undeniable.
So much better, yeah. And it deserves the credit because I think rugby needs it, but it probably end up getting them over the line in the end, didn't it? Like when they started their comeback, the crowd into it so hard, especially with guys like Pollock putting his hand up and riling on the crowd and things like that, like just getting them going. I absolutely love the spectacle of it.
I think, and that's where, you got the buy-in from the crowd, because like Pollock does that, right? That's the silliest thing to do from an English player. It's like poking the bear. It's like going.
I'm iffy on it. I like it.
So do I. But I mean, as a player,
I think you need a couple of players around your team that do that stuff. That do stuff that you go. If it was not on my team, I would call him some choice words. Yeah. But if he was on the other team, I'd be looking to put a shot on him or something like that.
100%.
But it also does get in people's heads and things like that. If it can put someone else off their game 1%, he's done it, and it doesn't put him off his game. Yeah. And that's where it's okay. If it put him, if he was doing it and having bad performances or not living up to what he's expected to do, then he's got to bin it. But most of the time, when he's doing that stuff, he deserves to be able to do it.
Well, technically, you could say it worked because England got off the advantage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it kind of, it didn't silence the crowd, but it definitely put the crowd on edge and it set up a freaking amazing match.
Sit them back, but it made the crowd celebrate that bit more when they got the win back. And yes, Pollock has to face a few headlines and stuff coming back, but I just think the whole spectacle of it was just so needed. Hey.
Okay, so for this match, it was a great match. I loved it because of the high scoring. I wish more rugby matches were like this. Like, that's why I struggle sometimes to watch football, because of the low scoring. So I'd like to see tries, points. It's more become entertainment. How does this set up, I suppose, both of the teams, France and England, moving forward? Because everyone expected England to be there at the end. Obviously not. But their last match has shown that that's still there. Like, it's how... It questions me why they failed in the previous 4 matches.
Well, you've got to look at England in terms of leagues, probably have the second best league after France, fundamentally. Like, the Premiership's a great, like, it sets them up, and they have some absolutely high quality players. Mm-hmm. I think the questions are asked in the way, are the right players being picked to play the right game plan? Mm-hmm. So I think that comes in. So you look at it,
switching.
Yeah, you look at a guy like Marcus Smith, who with the ball is ridiculous. Like, he can do some amazing things. Without the ball, he can be awful at times. And like, he's soft in terms of tackling at times. He'll make a good hit in one game but miss a couple of tackles in the other. Mm-hmm. You watched, this is probably the same with Elliot Daly. He got absolutely spanned against by the Italian centre. Mm. He literally went, I could step around. No, I'm going to run straight into you, drop you, and keep going. Like, that type of stuff shouldn't be happening at the highest of levels unless you've caught someone well off guard. But I just think the squad selection for game style, or their game style, is just not up to it. Mm. And especially their defense.
Well, that's
especially their defense. I think the way they defend this up and jam thing, it needs to be millimeter perfect. Otherwise, it lets once a line break happens, it's so hard to come back from. And if one guy's like half a centimeter out, it's just creating gaps for opposition players. You saw it against Italy. I think they had, is it a prop and the number 7 just had like 30 centimeters too far apart, and the the Italian center just ran a great line down the middle of them, and both of them basically barely touched him.
Yeah, literally.
And that's because they were up so fast that they couldn't then move across. So I think it's a system. The defense is a problem in England at the moment, but I also don't know what they're trying to do in attack, because sometimes they pick guys who are attacking players and it looks great, and then the next game they'll be like, no, we're going the opposite way. And even their 2 number 9s are completely opposite players. Like Spencer's a good slow rugby player. He kicks the ball really well, whereas Alex Mitchell is attacking. He wants fast gameplay. He wants that, and I think England's missing an identity in the way they play rugby.
Very cool. I mean, I think they did so well at basically that rush defense because they had to combat as the game changed. And like I think they wanted to evolve around that space better. And then the game evolved again, and now England's been left behind because now people know how to counter that rush defense so much more.
Yeah,
like you watch the attacks on all teams.
Yeah, and you can see it in the Super Rugby now. You're seeing a lot of that rush and that ball over the top from a 10 to out to a wing, which those guys can give those passes now. They're doing a 20-meter over the top pass, and suddenly it's 20 extra meters down the line. Yes, guys are covering for it, but then everyone else has to run back to get back into position and things like that. So, I mean, it's definitely interesting the way rugby is going with meeting those you're seeing new defenses, new attacks come through, like Ireland playing the ball out the back so often, but yet their forwards were just getting a massive momentum. So, and the French are the same. They have a lot of their big boys are out in the back line, like Miafau. He's always out in the centres, but he's so fast and so dangerous. You're like, every time he gets the ball, you're like, oh, something could happen here. Because even when you send 2 in, he's that big that he might get an arm free for an offload.
Yeah, literally. But
he's also definitely making the gain line. He's making meters, so he's pushing. How do you stop a guy like that consistently, other than try and get him tired somewhere else?
Yeah, exactly. Well, so then what is it for the French? Because I totally agree with this. And I see this, I said, like in the under-20s, the under-18s, more so in the under-20s, that they've got these hyper players like across the field, like these massive boys that can go across the gain line easily. They draw in 1 or 2, potentially 3 defenders, maybe even 4, a couple of these guys, right? And they do have the ability, because they're tall, they're wide, they can get that arm free and they can offload it wherever. Not even just the centres. I mean, you've got forwards, you got locks now. They're running down the line and they're just looking around and they just throw it over.
Yeah, they're holding it in the one hand and literally looking for their job isn't to score the try on the wing. Their job is to get someone to tackle them so they can give the ball to the winger, as a speed play. And that, it's definitely a different line of thinking, from previously. But if you've got the caliber to do it, why not?
This is where, for me, even though France won all the stats, the first and everything, the performance doesn't seem to come out on the park, or hasn't in the last couple of matches, really.
Yeah, it's still France, isn't it? They still don't know. They still choke.
Yeah.
When the expectations are on them, the expectations through this tournament were to win every game quite easily. I mean, at the start of the tournament, you would have backed this to be the closest game, which, funnily enough, it was. But against Scotland, they choked massively. They leaked a bunch of points really early from just not being switched on enough. And then even against England, they managed to come back against that. But they have this classic thing where they just choke at the wrong time.
So in your opinion, then, where does it leave England and France going into next year with the Nations Cup coming up, with the World Cup coming up?
Oh, look, England need to have a good performance at the Nations Cup. I don't think France care about anything except the World Cup, and they will protect players through the Nations Cup or Six Nations, whatever's happening before the World Cup. I think England need to work on their identity so that they will have to put their best players forward more.
Do you
but
see
what you've got to worry about, so that they can kick on and build from where they were. They're going to have they've got a quarterfinal against an Australia or South Africa or something like that. Like England's road
Argentina maybe
hits a real big speed bump early.
Yeah.
So they've got to be on it to get past that. Like I don't think games against Australia's game against Hong Kong. I mean,
Chile.
or Chile, like those games you're expecting to be absolute bloodbaths for one team. I don't think they do much for your team other than giving them a few player skills, but you're not picking your best guys for that. You want them healthy for the best games, hey?
100%. Okay, man. We've done what we normally do. We rumble on. So what thoughts do you have on the Six Nations? Just before we do wrap this one up. Like, was it a tournament for you, the expectations? Did it exceed expectations? Did it meet expectations? Because now all of a sudden in the fifth week, yeah, everyone's like, oh, that was the best one ever. It was like last week you're thinking, eh.
Look, what exceeded expectations was the number of predictions that we got wrong.
Yeah, true.
Which makes it exciting. And it made it exciting that there were still 3 teams in the final week that could have won it.
Yeah.
So that
even the Italy and Wales game, I still see that. Like Italy should have been higher up, but
yeah. They should have taken whoever lost that Scotland-Ireland game's position off them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know the table well enough whether it could have happened with bonus points and stuff. But so if we look
France
at
21, Ireland 19, Scotland 16, Italy 9.
So even if Italy had won that game with a bonus point, they would have max been on 14. Yeah. So it didn't actually matter for places.
If anything gone to script, if Scotland had won, then Ireland. Oh no, actually Ireland 15. So
yeah, the Ireland's still on 10 there. So it's if we take off Ireland's 5 points because they got a bonus point win, it puts them back on 14. So maybe Italy could have drawn with them. But I think and when you look at points difference, Ireland would have taken it anyway. So the places don't change for that.
Okay. And then of the Six Nations, expectations for me, I'll be honest, the last week solidified that as the Six Nations is the best international competition currently, but outside the World Cup. Just because there's 6 teams. There's so much more going on. Like Rugby Championship for me, it's just too small with only 4 teams. And usually 2 teams that dominate 99% of the time. So for me, there's more of the unexpected with Six Nations, especially these last 2 rounds, which even solidified that the unexpected happened multiple times. Like you said, makes a better sport, draws you in.
And it's just better crowd participation and feeling in the game. Rugby is sold. The Six Nations does a much better job at creating the rivalries and selling the fan bases than the Rugby Championship does. Because I think Rugby Championship, the rugby is better.
Yeah.
Because
of running rugby?
It's not always running rugby because you've got South Africa playing in there. But Argentina play this exciting brand of rugby. South Africa kick quite a lot. But just the games that were there, I don't know, maybe because I'm more invested in them, they feel more exciting to me. But if you're taking 2 of the top 3 best teams out of who are not in a tournament, is your tournament ever going to be the best? There will always be that question mark on it. Okay,
so that's awesome. We're going to quickly jump into a question, actually. Remember, if you got a question, chuck it in the comment section of the YouTube. Jack Cook 2410. How do you think Shaheen will? This is completely left field. How do you think Shaheen will do next season in the Prem? And do UUDS, the Tuskers.
All right, so we're talking UAE. So if they both go up to the Prem would be the question. I think those two teams will be playing in the final. I think they should both go into the Prem.
Okay, so this first question. Will they go in the Premiership, in your opinion?
I don't know, because the way things are managed, technically only the team that comes first in the league should be going up. But there's no relegation. So technically whoever wins the league can go up. At the moment, it looks like the Tuskers are a better team than Shaheen, and they should be up in the Prem. I think if for the good of UAE rugby, both teams should be up there to create a slightly bigger competition, a 9-team comp.
I agree with you, 100%.
I think both teams should go up. There should be a 9-team comp. There should be at least 16 regular season games heading into finals, which we're not seeing. We're not seeing enough rugby here, but I think they will be competitive against some teams, and on their day they will be tough with their backline and some of their key players. But I don't think they will find. I think the Shaheen will have a much tougher season than they have the last 2 years when they get to the Prem. I think their forwards need a lot of work to compete, and they can't just rely off a few powerful impact players.
Agreed. So the two parts of the question, 100%, both teams need to be in there. And it's reminds me of the Sharks. Like the Sharks, they were kind of forced to go up to the Premiership, but look at them now. Okay, they're not top 4 yet, but I think you give them a couple more seasons, and they're going to be there. They're thereabouts this season. Shaheen, Tuskers will do exactly the same thing, in my opinion. Totally agree on Shaheen. They need to work on their forward pack. Conditioning for the forward pack needs to be improved. Obviously got the backs with the flair. Tuskers probably need more control for me. They've got players there just kind of a bit recklessly with the play. Like it's just kind of flying into the rucks, just unable, taking people off their feet, and they need people on their feet for the next pod or the next ruck or whatever when the ball's been spread. For me, that's where those two teams need to make massive leaps to be competitive.
I don't think either of them will come top 4 next year unless there's a fair bit more recruitment done, which I can say the Tuskers might do because they seem to have the money to do it, the money to get players in and jobs and things like that. Mm-hmm. So they might be able to do it, but I think their game style and gameplay will not work in the Prem.
Agreed. I mean, you look at the way there's such a big gap between Division 1 and WAP Premiership. I hate that we got two different things, but I just refer to it as West Asia Premiership.
I got told to stop calling it WAP because of it means other things.
Okay. I'll have to do that behind the scenes. You can tell me about that.
So I call it West Asia Prem.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So Jack Cook, what are your thoughts on that, mate? Do you think they should be in there, and how do you think they will do? That's UAE Rugby, which is actually a different podcast chat talk, but I'm glad we could. It is quite an interesting topic, that one, when it comes to that.
Yeah.
How would they? Actually, there's one more thing about going back to the Six Nations. On that whole thing with the 6 teams growing in development, what does the Rugby Championship need to do, in your opinion, to match at least as a competition?
It needs to let Fiji and I think Japan in. Maybe there's a playoff for the 6th spot. So cool. The teams outside it, but it needs to be a 16 comp.
Yeah.
And where like a Samoa, Japan, Tonga, those guys could possibly, even maybe some of the other South American teams like that are up and coming. Chile, maybe they can play off for that last spot.
That's so hard, isn't it? And that's the thing.
Spot.
Can't we get? I mean, it's helped Argentina. What 5-6 years? We got them in. Now they're there regularly. I mean, it's good to see that. I mean, I don't know how many years it's been since they've been in it, but they had Jaguares and the Super Rugby, which obviously supported them for getting more regular, high profile rugby for them. a team like Fiji or a team like Chile. I like the promotion relegation idea, even though they don't have it in Six Nations. But then, what would your expectation on that be for the Rugby Championship? Would it need to be over a 10-year space or a
I think. Well, I think that the tournaments are kind of already in place for it to happen. I know it's harder with internationals and stuff like that when a lot of guys are playing regular season things, so it would have to happen. So just say this year during the international window, there's a tournament and we have Japan, Fiji, those guys not in that area, but not in the Rugby Championship. Yep, they have a playoff, and the top 2 teams, you're into the Rugby Championship. The following year, then we go, all right, those 2 are in. The team that comes last will play the other teams that will play the winner of the other teams there, and whoever stays in, stays in. So I still think there will be an extra playoff game for that losing team because I don't think they should automatically be relegated. I think they should have to play to be relegated because I think that could spell things, because there was all that talk about Italy or Wales having with Italy previously and Wales the last couple of years. Six Nations should have a relegation for Europe
with Georgia and even Japan, wasn't it?
But with Japan, I don't know, because Japan don't play in the European next level comp. But say Portugal yesterday beat Georgia and won the next level down in the European Championship.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they won by two points at the end of the game. Yeah, so very good for them. That's technically, I don't think they should go up and Wales go down. I think they would have to play Wales to go, and then the promotion relegation works on a win-loss against that relegating team. Because if they're still better than you, there's no point in you going up.
Yeah. Would that be over a 1 match or a 2 match?
I would say 1 match in a neutral venue, a neutral-ish venue, just because there's not enough time with all the other competitions around.
Is there another competition that could feed the Rugby Championship? Because for me, there's actually quite a big gap between Six Nations, like as far as the top Rugby Nations competition. How much the the Nations Cup will bring that back in my opinion. It's great to see internationals from North and South facing off against each other, but I feel like the same thing's going to happen. No one's going to really care about Nations Cup when it comes to. I don't think they're going to care about it, to be honest. I think they're going to put their B teams in it and not worry about it. Like it's like, okay, yeah, cool, bit of fun, bit extra. I don't think the spectacle's going to come there, to be honest.
Yeah, and it'll also depend on what players are where in the world playing what seasons and contracts and when they're allowed off it and things like that. So all of that matters a lot. Like you look at the Autumn Tour, like sorry?
I feel like it dilutes the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And like teams like Australia and South Africa have so many guys playing everywhere else now that getting all your best players together at the one time is already hard. Yeah. Like if it's more times, it's going to be less. So suddenly, okay, for Australia, let's say Will Skelton, for example, playing in France, he's only allowed during the international windows to play, but he's paid by I can't remember whoever he's playing for at the moment. He's paid for them to play for when guys are missing and stuff like that. So there's all that, getting that back. Like Tupou's in France, Angus Bell's in Ireland. Like all these guys are all over. Getting them back for a camp to then play internationals, because it's not just the international, is it? It's getting together for training camps and things like that as well.
The cohesion makes a massive difference. Huge difference. Yeah. Okay, man. Six Nations. We've booked it up for an hour. If anyone has any comments, questions on that, before we kick out of here, do you have any last thoughts? Share.
No, keen to talk about Super Rugby with you next week.
Oh, yeah. It's 4 weeks in. The question is Super Rugby, how's that compared to top 14? Don't tell us
yet. We'll answer that next week.
That's right. Check out our Broughy's Rugby Offload, BroPod. Check it on YouTube. We're going to have this video is going to be a collaboration. So we're going to collaborate this one after this one as well. Again, Please, if you are watching the replay, throw your questions on there. Still going to feed that out. If you're on Instagram, feed your comments or topics on there as well. I'm going to make this a regular rugby chat so we can talk all things rugby with people that around the region love rugby. And as always, remember this is brought to you by Buzzer. We'll give you more information about that after this. But Al, thanks.
Cheers,
brother.
guys. Bye.
I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up. Cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head.